வணக்கம் என் உயிரினும் மேலான இனிய தமிழ் மக்களே. This is your host RJ Venki with today's one more episode of Southern Spice only on Radio Zindagi, which is on 1310 AM in Parsippany, New Jersey, 96.7 FM in Edison, New Jersey, and 540 AM in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Also streaming live on Southern Spice USA Facebook and YouTube channels. And you can always watch it at any time. It's going to be there. So, in our series of conversations with gifted Gabber students, I have another one today, and his name is Rizaan Khan Muhammad. Rizaan is a 17-year-old high school student based out of Southern California. He's a researcher and an author dedicated to increasing alopecia awareness. In his free time, he plays tennis. He loves singing and reading and spending time with his family and friends. But what is alopecia? We're going to talk to him and get to know more about this. And for those of you who messaged me asking why all my interviews are only in English, this is obviously to help the students who are coming to interview with me. They cannot follow Tamil, and to reach a wider audience. So please let us and allow us to do this just from the perspective of spreading all the good work that they're doing. These kids, including Rizaan, are overachievers. They're doing extremely well in high school and doing things so different and so significant to society that their work has to be told in multiple platforms to reach more people. So here we go. Without further ado, let's bring Rizaan. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, Rizaan. Nice to have you on Southern Spice. Welcome to the show. And as always, tell us about yourself and what you do.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Hi everyone. My name is Rizaan Khan Muhammad. I'm a high school student from Southern California. I'm in my senior year, and I have a particular interest in healthcare and science. I love to sing and play tennis, as you said.
Mm.
But one of my true passions came from having a condition called alopecia areata. So this is a condition, it's autoimmune, and you lose patches of your hair in random patterns throughout your scalp. And there's a lot of different versions of this condition. For example, if you have alopecia totalis, you might lose all of the hair on your body. Or in another version, your hair might grow very, very thin. So upon discovering that I had this condition, I became more motivated than ever to advocate for those with alopecia, and so I created an organization called Hope Healing and Hairlines to do just that.
Cool. So, how did you realize that you had alopecia, and how did that become the kind of defining moment in your journey?
So I found out that I had alopecia on just another regular day. Uh, I took a shower and I was getting ready to go to bed after finishing my homework. And my dad walked in my room, and from behind me, he noticed that I had this like nickel sized spot towards the top of my head,
Mm.
and it had no hair on it. So he asked my mom to look at it because she's a nurse, and the spot was completely clean. So it wasn't a prank or anything. And they were both very concerned, but I just sort of laughed it off and went to sleep. But over the course of the next several weeks, the spot grew larger and larger, and it was now the size of a small bowl, and new quarter-sized spots were appearing all throughout my head. And after months and months of clinical treatment, lifestyle changes like my diet, we began to see some improvement and some hair regrowth. But it took a lot of time for me to come to terms with my condition. But once I did, I realized that I could use this negativity and turn it into something positive. So from my experiences while being a patient with this condition, I got to see lots of doctors in action, and the care that they showed me was really important in overcoming my condition. Sometimes we would go into the clinic and just ask questions for 30 minutes. And the doctors, they would listen to all of our concerns, they would hear us out, and they would reassure us. And that really inspired me to pursue a career in medicine and advocate for those with alopecia. And now it's become a really significant part of my life.
Wow. Okay. So, what were the main challenges you faced while having alopecia, and how did you manage to overcome them?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge for me was insecurity.
Mm.
Prior to having alopecia, I wasn't really all that much of a confident kid. But the one part of myself that I really loved was my hair. So when that got taken away from me without any preparation, it was really difficult. I started wearing hats all the time at school. You'd never see me without a hat. And in formal environments, I would do my best to cover it up with the hair that I had left or powders. And we were even looking into wigs, but some of that stuff wasn't always effective. Um, but I think it's okay to cover up your insecurities. That's a normal part of life. But you can't let them be internalized and think about them all the time. The best way to get over something that's gnawing on you on the inside is to go out and to tell people about it. So what I did
Absolutely.
was I told some of my friends that I trusted, and it really helped me because they didn't judge me for it. They supported me. They continued to treat me as their equal, and it really reaffirmed the self-worth that I had lost through this condition. And it's one of the main reasons why I want to continue to advocate for alopecia to this day, so that I can be there for someone and help reaffirm their self-worth.
Truly, truly good. So tell us more about hope, healing, and hairlines. What have you done? What kind of initiatives you've done through this organization?
Yeah, so Hope Healing and Hairlines, it's a student-led organization, and
Mhm.
it's completely dedicated to alopecia advocacy. A group of my childhood friends actually helped me found the organization, Sanya, Inaya, and Shayan, and they've helped me to found this organization, but they all play very important roles in managing our events, social media, and finances. On our website, you can find lots of resources uh, about advancements in alopecia, some personal blogs that I've written, and ways to connect with the alopecia community. But some of the initiatives we've led are mental health sessions. We're actually working with Congresswoman Young Kim's office to design a floor speech specifically to encourage other members of Congress to support a bill called HR 4034. And what this bill does is it classifies wigs as durable medical equipment under Medicare. So people who can't afford wigs under their insurance would be able to afford it if this bill were to get passed. And that floor speech will be delivered in September during Alopecia Awareness Month. And so stay tuned for that. But some of the other initiatives that we've also done are working with a really big organization in Southern California called the Illumination Foundation.
Mhm.
And what we're doing with them is we're contacting local businesses and gathering supplies to donate to children that are living in assisted housing and recuperative care facilities. And the last big event that we are doing is a community walk in order to raise funds and to help raise awareness for alopecia around the Southern California area. So that's going to happen in September. So if you live in the Southern California area and would like to come out and support us, that would mean the world. The final thing is more of a personal project, but I've written a book called Threads of Tenacity. It's available on Amazon, and it's about my own journey with alopecia. So, in this book, you'll get a deeper dive into my emotions, my daily life, and the specific things that I did in order to combat my condition, like the specific lifestyle changes. And you'll understand what I did to actually overcome my condition.
Brilliant. I mean, I can understand what your goal was with writing this book, but has it sold enough to be able to help people understand alopecia and the stigma around losing hair and stuff like that?
Yeah, so um, the selling of the book is still in progress.
Okay.
Mainly, we've been selling to local people. I've actually gotten it put into my local library.
Mm.
But what I've noticed is that once my friends and families read the book, they're all really surprised at the depth of the emotions of a person who is dealing with alopecia because they all knew me when I had it, but they didn't really understand what was going on, and sometimes they didn't even notice. But once they found out, they were all really eager to help me in my advocacy, and they grew even more supportive of me and the alopecia community at large. So I think it's definitely been effective.
Brilliant. No, that's phenomenal. Writing a book, putting it out there, and doing all of this while you're just a high schooler is by in itself a great achievement. So you also wrote a research paper, I'm told, right?
Mhm.
Right. So and then you put some of your findings of this literature review.
Yeah, so only a couple months after I had alopecia, my interest was at an all-time high. So I decided to work with a professor to write a literature review, and it's actually published in the Journal of Student Research.
Mhm.
Uh, but the main focus of this paper was the relationship between alopecia and COVID-19, because when I had alopecia, it was around 2022, so it
Mhm.
was really close to the pandemic. So I wanted to see if there was some sort of a relationship between alopecia and COVID-19. But I found out that in recent years, the cases of alopecia had increased, and it could be linked to maybe the stressful nature of the pandemic, but also because the COVID-19 infection was
Vaccine.
creating mechanisms in the body like crosses between viral and self-antigen and cytokine storms. Um, and what these responses to the virus do is they make the body attack its own hair follicles.
Mhm.
Um, and, that was really interesting to me because, having a condition, you obviously want to know what's going on. So that really helped me to heal a bit. But also in the paper, I discussed the role of diets and the gut microbiome because that's what I mainly focused on when I was making my lifestyle changes. And I also evaluated lots of different treatments, like the recently FDA approved JAK inhibitor, supplements, injectables, and even light therapy.
Whoa, that is a lot to do, Rizwan. So, so did all of this kind of shape your vision for what you want to do in the future?
100%.
Mm.
What alopecia taught me a lot about was the value of empathy. It forced me to confront how appearance and health can affect people's self-identity and mental well-being because that is, just what I had went through myself.
Mm.
So it taught me a lot about not judging others and seeing things from their perspective. It made me want to be a future doctor who sees the entire patient, and not just the condition that they have. So alopecia showed me that medicine isn't just about treating, it's about healing. And that can come from listening, it can come from understanding, and it can come from helping people feel seen, even when they're in their most vulnerable moments.
Okay, so there are a lot of people like you, right, who probably are having this condition, but they don't even know it is alopecia or whatever, right? So what would you tell them? What's your advice to young people currently dealing with this condition?
Funnily enough, the first thing that I asked when I had alopecia was, am I going to die from it? And
Mm.
the answer was no. And once I internalized that it wasn't the end of the world, I was struck with motivation to go out and to do something that could positively affect people who are going through the same thing as me. So I think it's really important to understand that one aspect of how you looked doesn't define your identity.
Mm.
Um, if you're scared of people judging you over something that you can't even control, you might need to find new people, because when I told people that I had alopecia, they sympathized with me, they supported me, and they encouraged me to take action and bring awareness so that I could help more people. So, my advice is this: try to see the positive side of your condition. It's not life threatening, it's only cosmetic. And while you might face insecurities, with time, things will get better. Believe me, I went through it myself. Um, Surround yourself with the right people, and you'll be able to use it as a sign to go out and go do some good in the world. Lastly, if you're dealing with alopecia and you need some help, I would highly recommend visiting the National Alopecia Areata Foundation's website. They have lots of resources like support groups to help you Or even if you want to venture out into alopecia advocacy, they have guides on how to get started, and they were really helpful in me starting my own organization.
Super. So, Rizan, my question now to you personally is, uh, has your alopecia been treated? Where are you currently with your own situation?
Yeah, so when I originally had alopecia, we focused on a clinical approach to it.
Hmm.
So if you have, when I had alopecia, the main thing was just like one huge patch up there. And so the first course of treatment is usually steroid injections into your head. So I did that for a couple of months, and we weren't really seeing much improvement. In fact, it was getting worse. Like I had, as I said, like new spots appearing throughout my head. Um, but when that starts happening, you can start to take a more serious medical approach, like as I mentioned, the JAK inhibitors. But I didn't end up taking those because a lot of the time they have very serious side effects. So it's not always the best. And my parents were really focused on not having long-term consequences to my body, because losing your hair is one thing, but facing health issues for the rest of your life isn't um, nearly as or losing your hair isn't nearly as bad as that. So what we did is we decided to switch to a diet and health based approach. We found this doctor who is really praising this method um, about hypernutrition, and it's where you take lots of cruciferous vegetables in your diet, and that heals you. And we actually had a family friend who was dealing with lupus, who decided to go on this journey themselves, and it ended up really benefiting them. So I really focused on that for a couple of months, and eventually we started to see hair regrowth, which was great. So we continued on that path, and eventually my spots filled up. But it's important to note that this isn't the case for all people with alopecia.
Sure.
A lot of the times, things like this might not work, and you might lose your hair for the rest of your life. And that's why alopecia awareness is very important.
Sure. So for people who watch this or listen to this interview on radio, if they are inspired, so how can they get involved with this whole alopecia awareness program and any of your upcoming initiatives like your walk?
Yeah, so the best way to reach me is if you visit our website. It's called hopehealingandhairlines.org. And that's the best place to reach me or my team if you're interested in helping us with any of our upcoming efforts. On the website, you can find the link to and register, join my team for our upcoming walk, as well as donate. We really are seeking donations because organizing a walk can be quite expensive. But we would love for you all to come out and support us if you live in the Southern California area. The walk, again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but it's at the Norman P. Murray Community Center. Um, and yeah, that's about it from me. That's the best place to reach me.
Brilliant, Rizan. Hope Healing and Hairlines, great initiative. Keep it going. Good luck with your, college, and you want to become a doctor, so you're going into medicine. It's truly inspiring. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming to Southern Spice and discussing your, initiatives. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right. So that is another very, very super inspiring young high school student who's taken a personal problem and converted it into a life mission. Hope Healing and Hairlines, brilliant initiative. Please, please, please do go support this young kid and learn more about alopecia as well in the process. On that note, thank you for watching and listening. I'll come back to you with another couple of interesting episodes very soon. This is your host RJ Venki. Taking off. Be well.